got the head off the Miata, and I took off the springs. I mean, that's pretty simple. You just take your C-clamp, pressurized C-clamp, and take off the springs and clips and hats, whatever they're called. And I guess now I'm cleaning out the valve and cylinder chambers with Easy Off. I don't know how exciting that's going to be to watch, but here we go. Right now I'm taking out all the valves. I placed them back in the head when I took it all apart because I took a pause. I didn't feel like working on it. But now I'm just taking them out in order, and each should go into the same hole it came out of. And that goes for the lifters and cam caps. This entire process wasn't very hard. It's just time consuming, and you got to stay organized. In a couple of spots I didn't really stay organized, but I remembered how I got unorganized, so I think I got everything in the right spot. I sprayed everything with Easy Off and tried going at it with a plastic brush. That really wasn't enough. I almost gave up on cleaning it and just saying, that'll be it, but decided to just be patient and keep scraping, add more Easy Off, and the longer that the Easy Off sits, the more it binds with the grease or whatever carbon buildup is there, and it'll actually start to really come off. I flipped the head over and started taking the caps off from the cams and made sure to keep those in order as well. I think I have a theory why this had bad compression is because you can see that there's like buildup right there, and I bet that when my friend took the head off to go get it cleaned, some of that buildup fell and got locked into the valves. So I'm gonna clear that out with a pick. Being that it's not a mating surface, I'm fine. So I'm going to confirm my theory. 2 and 3 were bad, and you can see this is 1, or maybe it's 4. Who cares? Like, there's a little bit of a burn mark right there. And some of this is, like, you can see that there's some crust, but you can definitely tell here there's a long burn mark right in the middle, right here. And I think that's where a lot of gases were getting passed. And noticeably, the middle 2 were the dirtiest, so I have a feeling that when my friend took off the head, that some crust came off when he got it cleaned and then locked itself into the valves. I mean, that would stand to reason. So maybe lapping will fix that, and then cleaning up real good will keep that from happening. After getting some advice, I took the wire wheel and started really getting in there past scraping, because scraping would have taken all day. The wire wheel really helped, and since the valve seats are hardened steel, you'd have a hard time breaking through those. So this was very nice to get done, and it did a really great job. I would spray a little bit of Easy Off before I'd get into the next hole, so I could let the Easy Off soak maybe for 5 minutes, and just helps out a little bit. Plus the wheels getting clogged up with grime, and the Easy Off would take that off. And I'd also spin the wheel in some lacquer thinner as well, just to clean that up a little bit. Eventually the wheel got pretty worn out, so I switched to a new wheel, and it came out real clean. This is actually lapping the valves. I start with the rough compound and get it onto the valve and just spin with the suction cup thingy in my hand. I don't know what it's called. And I was doing itsy bitsy spider, and the important thing is to itsy bitsy spider, then rotate the entire valve assembly, and then itsy bitsy spider, and that way you get a full contact that's even. So itsy bitsy spider, rotate, itsy bitsy spider, rotate. Then I'd move on to the finer compound And I think a little bit into this, I realized that my head was flipped around. So my valves were in there mirrored. So I had to stop and flip everything. That was a little, well, you know, I wonder about me sometimes. Everything's backwards, but it'll be perfect. It may seem odd that I'm washing the head with the hose, but that's how you do it. Just getting in there, cleaning out the stuff. And then it'll be beautiful, and then I can assemble it. Look at the dog. Unlike the sweet, soothing sound of air compressor, huh? I blew out the head with air. I'll probably blow it out again. But then I guess while that dries, I'll clean up all the lifters. And if they click, that's because probably the tolerance is wore out, but I'll just clean out the oil. Same with the cams. I made a mistake, I thought, because, well, I thought all Miatas were like basically the same, but they're not. So the first generation NAs have hydraulic lifters. And I didn't realize that these were not hydraulic because I never took apart my head on the NA, and this is an NB, and they went to shim and bucket, which is not self-adjusting. It is also not self-loosening, so I guess that's the positive. But anyway, so I figured these out, that they are shims, and I will need to do the lash and figure out how much lash I do have after this little valve grind. I doubt it'll change more than like 1,000th or 2, but who knows what it is after years and years of driving. I'm putting in the valve seals here. They went in really easy. You know, you just kind of start them and then tap them in with some sort of socket. It was really easy. Probably the easiest part of this. I wish it was that easy for the rest of it. This is where I struggle the most. So I spent probably $20 in resources and hours just trying to get the clips in. I just didn't have the right tools, and I wasn't willing to go buy the right tools because the shop is auto parts store is like half an hour away, and I thought I was almost there. I would be so close to just actually getting them in, but that was not the case. I also oiled every little piece that I could, except the keepers. I kept those in lacquer thinner. The C-clip, I tried magnetizing a screwdriver. I tried threading them in there with my needle nose. I tried like pushing them in there. I tried letting them seat in there. Those keepers would not go in. I even made a tool that would go at the end of my socket that would like self-press the keepers in, and that didn't work. The tool that I made, I saw on the internet that I would give it a try, and I kept modifying it till I thought it would work, but evidently that didn't work. The next thing I saw was use a plastic bag, and you sandwich that plastic bag in between your socket, and you just push down, and boom, the keepers go in. No tool required. It's incredible. Sometimes I'd mess up and have to pull the keepers out and then try again, but I tell you what, once I got that plastic bag trick figured out, they just went in no problem. I did, though, since the springs are pretty stiff, even though they're stock. Anyway, I had to get up on a little step stool to get some pressure down on it, and I would put a little piece of metal underneath the valve, that way it wouldn't move, because that was also a problem. If the valve was moving as you're trying to press the keepers on, then they just get screwed up. Yeah, but man, that bag valve, that bag trick worked. There you go. And I don't think this would really work if I had like some real big boy springs on here. I think I'd have to get the actual tools, but you know what? This worked for the stock setup, and that's perfectly adequate. I got all the keepers in, and now it was time to assemble. I got the special assembly lube and got it all over my fingers. I lubed up the mating surfaces for the cam and the walls on the lifters, and I dipped all the lifters in oil, and that made me happy, just to assemble something. It's not every day. I do like building engines when I get to, and that type of stuff, and this is nice. This is nice. If you're looking closely, you can see that I misplaced some lifters and I put them in the wrong spot. I just got a little distracted, so I had to move them. There I am again, getting mixed up. I probably shouldn't build high dollar stuff, you know. I got everything together, and when I was spinning around the cams, well, the intake cam moves real nice, but the exhaust cam is like super tight, and so I was looking at it, looking it up, and I thought these were hydraulic, but these are shims, and I think I need to adjust those shims because I don't see any gap, and they're supposed to be 9 to 10 thousandths on the intake, and then 13 to 14 on the exhaust. So that concludes the head rebuild until I get some shims. Okay, wait, I figured it out. These caps were flipped, and the engraving wasn't reading. The E3 and E4, it's not focusing. They were on the other side, they were flipped, but now it spins really nice. But I'll still have to do lifter shims soon here. Sweet. I think I'm getting adequately serious about regularly posting videos because, well, I've actually referenced them when I'm building something, so they might be half useful. So check out some more. Thanks.